also drop us a voice note. The number to dial when we open up the lines is 0809 7991989 and 0809 4646 And for your voice note, you can drop them on 0809 7991989. And of course, our social media portals are active and available. You can watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at ground at Procyon RTV. All right, at Procyon RTV. And my guest today is Danjuma Dangwa. He's with me in the studio. He's a good governance advocate and also from Halped. Danjuma, you are welcome to the program.
I'm happy to be here with you in the studio. Thank you very much.
All right. And going straight to looking at some of the issues that we are talking about today, it would interest you to know that most of the things that I'll be talking about in respect of this demand, I'll be lifting them from Truth Nigeria. And Truth Nigeria is a news media organization that focuses on helping you discover the truth about Nigeria. Of course, the website is truthnigeria.com. Let's quickly see details of the story. I'm trying to. Okay. If you recall, not too long ago, there were several attacks in communities in and around Kaduna. We have the Goningora attack. We also have the Kuriga attack, and which other one around the suburb? Kajuru attacks. And some of these bandits abducted some persons, and from the information that we are getting, those that did the Goningora attack that abducted about 19 people or thereabout are demanding for $28 billion. I'm sure maybe they do not know that they mentioned billion, $28 billion, which by going rate is approximately about 40 trillion naira. That's like 3 years budget of Nigeria before now. That's what they are demanding for. And the ones that did the Kuriga adoption of 287 students or thereabout also are demanding for a ransom of 1 billion naira. And all of these, it's becoming something else. To say that Nigeria is short of kidnapping or abduction in Nigeria is short of being an epidemic as we speak now, because every other day it happens. It's almost, if one is to use the normal street slang, it's almost becoming a ringtone in the ears of Nigerians to hear that one abduction or the other happened, and that government is on top of the game is a normal thing that we hear. And there's one common denominator when it happens: the abductors would demand for ransom, while many of these attacks go unnoticed. But the recent ones, probably because of the nature of it, is taking a dimension, it's taking an international dimension to the point that the European Union is even offering to step in to see how they can help sort out all of this. Now, the big question is the demand for ransom and the volume of ransom that they are demanding for now. I would say it has never ever happened in the history of Nigeria for these guys to be demanding for such ransom. And let that be our talking point for a start. Then secondly, the Kaduna State Water Corporation, Water Board or Water Agency, as it were, I would say in recent time, in and around Kaduna have not been doing too badly. Like in my neighborhood, at least 3 times in a week, we get public water supply for about 4 hours. And for some people, enough time for them to get water, store them, and it will serve till the next 2 or 3 days when they'll have water again, or when they'll have potable water again running from their taps. Now, Most of the time when you talk to these workers, they will claim that because of water wastage running up due to broken pipes and stuff, that's why the volume of water that the pump to these areas, this neighborhood, don't really get to them in time and the right quantity. And one thing that is of note, which happens in most communities now, is that when you move around, whenever there's water supply, you see so much water wasted through water leakage, running through the drainages and all of that. And so much water wasted. And communities or people in those areas, citizens don't get to report to the water corporation. And so some communities or people in those areas, citizens don't get to report to the water corporation. And so much water is lost. They believe they are pumping enough, but it's really not getting to the people and all of that. Now, the duties and responsibilities of the citizens when it comes to getting access to potable water, we'll look at that and see how the citizens can be a little bit more responsive and also responsive to playing their part in this circuit. But first, let's start with the first one on kidnap for ransom and the recent demand by kidnappers in and around Kaduna State. Danjuma, what's your take on this?
Thank you so much, Ahis. It's not just happening in Kaduna State. Around the same time that these kidnap incidents happen across Kaduna, other reports like that were coming also from Borno and also from Sokoto, where 15 students were also abducted. There was a citizens report also about Fadan Kaje, either in Zangon Kataf local government, another also in Angwan Ati, within Kachia town. The thing is, it's only when the numbers get so high that these incidents are making news. Like you said earlier, it's a recurring decimal. Nigerians are being forced to live with this like it's a new normal. But what is also quite true is that the industry, I want to call it, is growing. It's becoming a very lucrative activity. And I would also want to say that northern Nigeria is not the first part of Nigeria that started witnessing abduction for ransoms. But when it happened in other climes, like in the Niger Delta, then the state governments, growing up within their penal code, reviewed and placed the capital punishment as part of the penalty for kidnapping. And immediately that was done, also ensuring that the police formation and commands there and also other security establishments in those areas, as they continue to work with state government, were able to bring all of those issues to a calmness.
Yeah.
I remember visiting a state in the southeast and knowing that there was at that point in time within the police force an anti-kidnapping squad operational within the Nigerian police force in the southeast, and that was happening at state to state. Here we have seen various level of support provided to such security establishment by subnational government, but that has not really deterred these actors. What has been quite true is the fact that as they continue to, extort and enslave citizens under new regimes that shows that citizens are not going to have their rights being upheld within the Nigerian state, and government also being incapable of ensuring that citizens are not so extorted and enslaved by these people who will take free citizens and place ransoms on them like they're trying to buy themselves back their rights to exist. It's something that is a misnomer. And so far, they've been so successful at doing it, and they are now emboldened. This is not the first time they have also been making demands on our government. When they did the train bombing incidents, when the children from the Federal College of Forestry were being taken, at every given point in time, we have seen these people make demands on government. What we have also not clearly understood is whether, of course, like the citizens, I wouldn't even say understood, because even the victims of the train bombing attack suffered months, in the custody of these people. There were videos of the abducted appealing and begging in tears that government should come to their rescue. And the demands are mostly not targeted at the people anymore. In that case, it was targeted at the government. So, firstly, we're having an impoverished citizenry that is rising, largely because this space is enabling for these things to continue to happen. And then we have gotten to the point where government is also being ridiculed in the eyes of the citizenry in the fact that it's unable to carry out actions that are intimidating and challenging enough to deter the actors, the masterminds, and whoever the conscriptors of these actors are, to bring this kind of mayhem on Nigerians. So I must say that what we are seeing is a situation where the enabling space subnationally for banditry, terrorism, and whatever kind of guys to happen is happening. There is usually the fact that the Niger Delta or the South states have been able to curtail this menace over a decade ago, and there are templates there to borrow from. And then we have here within the northern parts of Nigeria, even people who are proponents who want to be spokespersons to explain why this terrorism is happening, and even say that there is a need to negotiate with them, and even allow for them to occupy spaces within communities and deny these communities the right to challenge the existence of these settlements that are usually governed by terrorist organizations and groups, is enough statement to say that the governments at state level and at local government level, traditional institutions also at that level, are willing to allow for banditry and terrorism to exist within their spaces, because there is no explanation to this protracted issue. Certainly, every now and then, we see the armed forces make moves. In the Goodluck Jonathan administration, I would always refer to some of those comments from the Borno Elders Forum, the Arewa Consultative Forum, saying that the use of kinetic means to engage banditry and terrorism within those spaces were called for, that these are their children, they will call them to order. Now we are having it happen in this rampart, and then governors will want to turn up at the scenes. In some cases, they don't even turn up in some locations. It is actually quite dependent on how they feel they belong to whoever it is that is the victim in this case. But what we know is that the victim continues to pay to finance terrorists having access to weapons, having access to more resources, having access to recruitment, having access also, to having all the informants and all the resources they need within communities to identify who to abduct and extort, whatever. And also to the point that these actors are also, in some instances, said to have been arrested at the point in time and released. I saw a video that trended within the free space at the point in time, like a policeman somewhere was interviewing someone, and the bandit that was arrested somewhere around Tafa was shocked that the police came to arrest him. So shocked, yes, he was said
he wasn't supposed to be arrested.
He wasn't supposed to be arrested by police. Maybe he was actually running away from military, but certainly not police. Why should police be the headhunters in this case? It tells us the level of the service to which people who wear the uniform, the institutions that are meant to protect Nigerian citizens, are more comfortable about giving reports about numbers, about events and incidents, and nobody is asking them questions about their own obligation and efforts about ensuring that these things do not happen. And it is also a thing of concern now, again, because Um, Pundits will have said in time past that whenever this conflict and crisis happened, there were insinuations that security vote will become the new priority of government. So whatever government has at her conference for this time frame will be voted immediately into solving the security situation, and so many other issues of development will be neglected. And security votes are usually unaccounted for.
Yes.
So again, if we will continue to see state governments allowing for this thing to happen, I'm saying this thing instructively because of course, like we have a Motekun in Ondo, we have Kadvis in Kaduna.
Yeah.
Just most recently, there was the effort by, for instance, Kaduna state government to recruit more personnel or volunteers into Kadvis,
Yeah.
hoping that this was going to help increase the level of intelligence gathering. And considering the fact that these people were drawn from all the 255 wards in Kaduna State, there is no way that things like this could happen. And the government having an institution and this architecture in place to report about this incident, and it cannot be able to really say that this is the area where these people are held as at today, and let alone tell Nigerian citizens that this is what they are doing to handle this emergency. It's not even a state of emergency, I must say, because fire incidents that happen in the wild in foreign climes, you see them being in the news nearly 24 hours a day until they are resolved.
Yes.
The issues of just shooting or hostage or an individual working with a firearm occupying a supermarket or even a banking, any public facility at all, continues to become news, and live transmissions are happening until those issues are resolved. In Nigeria, what we have are governments that are willing to explain incidents as they happen and give reasons for which they are, why they are happening. And I do not know what they are actually saying about their level of irresponsibility.
Wow, that's really hard. Now, coming back to say the issue of ransom and all of that, if you are to look at what they demanded for, apart from that 40 trillion naira, they want 11 Hilux trucks.
To do what? To do more.
And 150 motorcycles.
Oh, exactly.
So
the victims have been paying that already.
yeah.
Most of the incidents about individuals being abducted have paid cash. Some have also paid with food. Some have also paid as part of not just cash. Cash will follow, food follows, and then this equipment. I want to call them equipment because these equipments are just saying again that the victims in Nigeria are paying and financing terrorism.
Yes.
And then when it gets to the point that our government too is being made to pay and finance terrorism in the guise of keeping citizens safe, it's laughable. So the whole idea is that government has a statutory constitutional obligation, and government must meet to that obligation, because there is no individual that is serving in any public office today that has not pledged or taken the oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And if that individual is not doing that, then that individual is actually not occupying a legitimate office, but is running that office unconstitutionally.
Yeah. Still looking at solutions now.
Yes.
Many people are suggesting that Nigeria should look towards the east now. Before now, most of the time, yes, it's generally said that no negotiation with terrorists is the stance of the Western world.
Yes.
The Eastern world too, Russia, China, and co, same position. But we know that we have back channel negotiation happening, and unfortunately, sometimes monies exchange hands.
Yes.
Now, looking towards the east and the Russian direction, and people talking about the Russian treatment, people believe that the Russian style should be what Nigeria should adopt because it is giving them solution. Now, what's the Russian style? When an adoption like this happens, the government, their agencies and representatives would go to the families of those affected or abducted and tell them, well, this and this and this is what we are planning to do. And all of the time their plan is to storm the abductors, and they will tell you, this, we want to storm the abductors, there's going to be collateral damage. If it happens, we are going to give your family member all national honors and respect that they are deserving of national heroes. They'll go in there, storm the place, and yes, one or two, a couple of people may suffer and be part of the collateral damage and lose their life. But by and by, they don't negotiate with abductors and kidnappers. They storm them, and looking at record and checking the numbers, it doesn't really happen there again, because whoever attempts it knows that he's going on a suicide mission.
You're even talking about Russia. I say it's not happening in Akwa Ibom. It's not happening in rivers without some level of response. The Bantu Baba also who gunned down or who beheaded a policeman.
Yeah,
the hunt for that man never ended. But look, have you ever seen the photo album of bandits being advertised to citizens to provide information whether they are actually living next door to them? Is anybody asking that question? Is the security organization asking citizens what happens even when they even report that incidents are about to happen? What is the response time at every
when it is happening?
What is the response time? So, in what way? What are the channels that have even been provided? So, I am talking about the fact that in the Niger Delta today, kidnapping and abduction for ransom is not something that is tolerated. It's not even yielding results. It's a fruitless venture. Saying that you are storming and hitting these militia groups is not just enough. Who are those people who are calling the shots? Who do they talk to when they abduct? Because the people who have abducted LGEA primary school students in Kuriga did not abduct them because their parents have the wherewithal to pay for whatever ransom they are demanding. They are abducting them because they are going to make demands from government. Who are the people who are coming in to mediate on their behalf? They are not just going to talk to government directly. Who are even the people they are talking to that is telling them what to even make demands from government? And who are the people who are stepping in and be going behind the door to also tell our government, intimidate our government, that they are capable of bringing government to our knees, because so long as other demands that are not being met beyond what we actually hear on papers. So these are the most germane concerns. So it's not happening in Akwa Ibom. There's a reason why it's not happening in Akwa Ibom, because that state will not allow for those kind of events to happen there. Why not in Kaduna? Why not in Zamfara? The people who came out and condemned the bombing at Tudumbiri, what have they said concerning the killing of worshippers in the mosque in Birnungwari? What have they said? What did they do? So why are they? What is the sensationalization to some particular kind of news, and then why are they indifferent when it is happening elsewhere? If it was sacrilege for people who were celebrating a festival, as it was claimed in the news reports, were bombed, what are they doing concerning those who were actually worshipping at the time of an attack? So there is clearly whatever government is doing around banditry, certainly it's not empowering the citizens, with the right level of participation, one, the right level of risk knowledge, two, and also the right safer pathways for such engagements to happen. And certainly, citizens are not convinced that government is working in their best interest in arresting this tide, because citizens have been paying consistently. There has been no abduction that has been foiled by security operatives without citizens paying in that kind of magnitude and number. Most of the time when we hear that somebody is safe now, is because he escaped from abductors, not because there was some level of engagement that really led to a release. Or not because there was any rescue mission, so to say. So the students that were abducted on their way to Zamfara for NYSC, we have not heard about them. We have not heard about their release. The Dutch school girls, I don't know whether they're actually living in the subsurface terrain, but certainly there has been no feedback about that. The Chibok girls that have still remained in custody, there has been no, even the ones who have been abducted and have been released based on the payment of ransoms, for instance. I'm not aware of any rehabilitation program that government are doing to really bring back these people to a mental state that can empower them enough to continue their life pursuits, living through the kind of trauma they have experienced.
Yes, you are listening to Ground Zero coming to you on Procyon Radio and Television in collaboration with Invicta 98.9 FM. And we have looked at the first one briefly. Let's quickly look at the second item before we open up the phone lines. The issue of the roles of citizens in the potable water supply chain in Kaduna State, that is where. What do you think the citizens need to do apart from paying the bills and
I think there was a Kaduna that had water supply 24 hours a day.
yeah.
That even Abuja, as a federal capital territory, envied. Today is not so. Today we are in a Kaduna where even in our metropolitan towns, solar-powered boreholes and boreholes or dog wells are the most assured sources of safe drinking water. There was a Kaduna that school children and people, moving around could actually go and access water, fetch water and drink direct.
Yeah.
That was far yesterday. Today, nearly everyone who wants to be assured that the water one is consuming is safe is actually going to depend on sachet water at a minimum, and then perhaps also the fact that if it is morning, it is evening, and you see people moving around Kaduna with plastic jars, what they are looking for is water.
Yeah.
And while they are moving around looking for water, most of them are not paying the bills for water that they benefit. Over the years, most of them have also not even seen water, at all. In fact, I can tell you that the urban renewal program, for instance, was not just about roads. There was also a water component to it.
Yeah.
And Romi does not have water because of urban renewal. And it's been years that has not been met. And Gomboro, for instance, around the Firoro axis, had a water project that was provided for sometime before 2015.
Yeah.
As at today, that project has not been completed. Nobody's asking questions. I'm not sure if government have lived up to the responsibility around that, because I'm also certain that issue was also raised by that community at a point in time. Now, this is actually what government is not doing, admitting service delivery. But what is also most instructive is that, with the era of social media, one would have thought that it's quite easy for people to report their concerns, report it to the right institutions, and have those level of responses, provided. But what we have seen is that people have become so careless and so irresponsible about even their own livelihoods and environment. The fact is, nobody reports about solid waste sites within the community that is left unattended to, even though it's a threat, within that space. And certainly, you don't get to see reports. If you go on social media now, Facebook, that is actually the most popular, you won't find anybody reporting a leaking pipeline anywhere about water in Kaduna. I mean, if there is, I would really want that person to tag me to it, so that we know that there are such level of responsible citizens in the state. But while all of this is happening, what is the consequence? The consequences is that people can no more do gardening.
Yeah.
and grow even the little level of vegetables they can grow around their homes, which is safe, improving nutrition, improving access to quality food, and also reducing this food insecurity that we're seeing. People are not investing enough in climate resilience, even in the fact that they can plant trees. Because when you have to go about 700 meters and spend 3 hours to collect together perhaps 500 liters of water.
500 liters of water is much.
I'm just saying that perhaps that individual even wants as much as 500 liters of water and collect 500 liters of water. The competitive needs for that, for which that person is collecting that water, is certainly for domestic use and consumption. It does not necessarily include watering plants that can even help them deal with the current situation that we are faced with. I mean, if this heat does not trouble you, then certainly you are not, you are living in a fool's paradise. I'm sorry to say, but that is just what it means, because if you have the air conditioners working today, thankfully the fuel subsidy is gone. The fact again remains that with the current situation, if you are unable to switch on that air conditioning system, then you cannot live and enjoy your home. If you are also leaving your house to go to your neighbor's house because he has the vegetative cover for you to enjoy, and you are not mindful that you are supposed to do same, and if the reasons for which you can't do that is because you don't have access to water, then you are part of the problem. If you are not reporting these issues, if you are not also helping government, deal with such issues about leaking pipes, and also the fact that people also sometimes will not go to the normal authorities, or the authorities required, to tap, to not even tap water to their homes when the lines that they are getting supply fails, and they can go ahead and take within their own ways and means, tap from whatever source they want to, and not revert to the authority that is responsible for that. And that the authority responsible for that too is also not having the requisite manpower that is motivated. That system that is deliberate at making sure that Kaduna State people have access to water. And let me say that water is a right.
Of course, water is
Water is a right. And when government cannot provide water to citizens, I do not know what it is that the citizens benefit, because you cannot even have nutrition as an issue solved when there is no water. You can certainly also not have anything about hygiene, properly dealt with when there is no water. And when all of these things that I'm talking about are missed, then you also have issues with your human capital development index. And there is the multi-dimensional poverty assessment has shown that Kaduna State is lacking in most of these parameters, for instance. And not just Kaduna State, there are other states across the northwest that are also, very particular in this. Let me say perhaps space of water. This thing that looks like a gutter or a dam, that point where water is being collected, that toads are swarming around within your community, is a safe drinking water somewhere around the world. And then you are having access to pipe transmission of water from a public supply, and you are taking that for granted, and you are also not willing to ensure that not just what we have now is maintained, but to also ensure that the new communities that are blooming now are also able to access such infrastructure. Then indeed you are part of the problem. Kangimi Dam, I've been there, is one of the major sources to the seasoned river that we have called River Kaduna. But certainly that water is not something that government is buying. Government is harvesting it somewhere at a dam, releasing it, treating and transmitting. And it's not just going to be about just saying that you have water 3 times a week. Water should be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it is not just water that is rushing through your tap, but that water should be something you are comfortable to drink direct from. And if that is not the kind of service that the Kaduna State government is pledging to bring in, and is already trying to play the ostrich and allow for private sector to come in and continue to bridge that gap around access to water supply, then they should know that the rights of Nigerians are not being upheld. And government, not the federal government, this is not about Tinubu, this is about state government.
Yeah.
State government have responsibility here, and let us see them take action.
All right. The program is Ground Zero. It's time we open up the phone lines now. 0809 799 1989 and 0809 4646 206. Let's see who our first caller is going to be this evening. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Mr. Danjuma, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Kure, you're welcome.
Let me start the one that concerns me very much about this kidnapping of a thief. I don't know where we get it wrong. What happened to our drones? I think before Erufai left, he said that he purchases drone. What happened to it? The drone has gone back on his own. Honestly, if I should make any bad word now before 24 hours, the security personnel will come after me and they will trace me. What happened to that? Me, I'm not biased as such. I want the government to do the needful by rescuing those guys. They can't tell me that there's any hideout that the government cannot trace that hideout.
Yeah.
Let them go after these people. Where are they standing when they will communicate and see and collect that ransom? Where are they standing? That the government cannot put their satellite and track them.
All right.
Honestly, I don't know what is happening in this country. There are some people that are behind it. So they should just try and let this thing should be a thing of the past. Or if they cannot do it, they should allow US to come and help us so that we'll get these children back.
Okay.
How much? If they want to fight the government, they should go after the government official. Maybe that will come to an end. But taking an innocent person, those children, some of them have not even eaten before they went to that school. You don't take them, trekking. I told you what happened to my brother. After taking him, we began to negotiate with him. After some days, from 150 million, at the end of the day, we end up paying 500,000 with bottles of beer, secret, and so on and so forth. The place that they asked us, we went and kept those things there because they released the wife. She's the one that took it to get it. She kept it. If they confirm that 500,000 is complete before they release it, they brought him and kept him somewhere where different place where we kept the money. So the government should just do the needful, except they have interest on it.
All right.
And finally, about the water board.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about water board. I've never, even for a single day, used water board.
This evening. All right, let's see who our next caller is. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground
Hello,
Zero.
Mr. Heath. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good evening.
Good evening. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Thank you very much, Mr. Heath. Your friend, Mr. Jibril from Nasarawa.
All right, Mr. Jibril, let's have your take.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heath, with respect to the body issue, the issue of the bandage, right?
Yeah.
It's all over the world. People know that insecurity concerning bandage is a more or less like guerrilla war. I also call a guerrilla war is the most dangerous war. This is what makes it dangerous because the people that are involved, you cannot predict them. It can be your neighbor, it can be your friend, it can be your relative that are involved. And that's what makes it difficult. If you went to a physical war, it will not take the government or the institute or security agency 3 hours before they eliminate them. So that is why the thing is cumbersome for it to be. It can be somebody that you look up to media to talk every day, right? So you can't predict to do it more because they want to do something to remove the government from the truth. Once we have realized that, we should not be criticizing because security work is the work of everybody, not the government alone. Right?
All right.
And I thought I employ everybody not to be criticizing or condemning the government, but we should employ every avenue to do what is right.
Okay.
Secondly, you mentioned something concerning the North, animal consumption and others, that there was a time they are saying that those people, our child, when they started attacking the animal consumption and others, they are saying that they were children.
Yeah.
I want to refute that. Nobody, the masses of people you mentioned, nobody will compromise with security or compromise such acts. Animal consumption has been against this integrity and sovereignty from the time memorial. That's why others. So what you mentioned is more than what the majority of people you mentioned or the relation you have mentioned. There must be. I want you to withdraw that statement.
No, it cannot be withdrawn because I was a reporter at Jabril, that word will not be refuted. It's in public space. I was a reporter then around Borno. I was even at that particular press briefing. I was there, not that I read it. Thank you, Jabril. Let's take our next call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. You're welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Linda calling from Komimachi.
All right, Linda, let's have your take.
You see, I stand to be corrected for someone to say, why shouldn't we blame the government for insecurity? I stand to be corrected because I believe that the federal government has every apparatus to tackle insecurity from the onset, from the beginning. And I stand to be corrected again. Our past president, Abbas, he said anything of course that exceeds 24 hours that the government knows about. The point is that this is not affecting nobody else. It's so much that is suffering from insecurity, suffering from, I don't even know how to put the things that the police are suffering from. Is this no water, no light, no good hospital, no good education? What are we suffering for? No, countless. Then the work was insecurity, and somebody will tell me that the government, we shouldn't blame the national government. We have the authority, the power, the apparatus, the amenities, everything to tackle insecurity. Please, Nigerian government should do this. It's very, very important. They should do the needful before it goes out of hand.
Hello, Chief. Yeah, Chief. Chief, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, quickly, wrap it up. You have 30 seconds.
So that is what I'm saying. So most of the time, you see that even the police, after some people confront these people with their guns, after that one, they will go and arrest them. So which is not palatable. That is why I support that quotation from Donald Trump. That honestly, so that they should allow our vigilante to also hold on.
Okay.
So it is becoming embarrassing. Today, the Bicon cannot hear the Bicon now. When it comes to this kidnapping, banditry, and whatever it is,
all right,
the
Chief.
you have to rethink and new thinking so that it's not prayer, it's to try as much as possible to develop another strategy.
All right, Chief, your time is up. Your time is up, Chief. Thank you so very much, and that will be the last call we'll be taking this evening. Quickly, in a minute, can you just tie it up in a minute?
Well, I think it takes responsible citizens for us to build a nation that we can be proud of and a society that can really sustain today's legacy. If we continue to act shy of the truth and become very shy to speak truth to power, then certainly we'll continue also to not just suffer in anguish, but also bequeath a legacy to a generation coming that may not be worthwhile for all of us. Everywhere in the world, people learn from history. People keep track of some of these issues as they happen to them and are able to be well informed about such issues and speak directly to where these solutions will come from. I I'm not even blaming the federal government per se on all the issues of insecurity. I'm blaming also the subnational government, state government, local government councils, traditional institutions. There is no part of Nigeria where you have a small hamlet that is not under a traditional authority.
Yeah.
And so if community governance structures are faulty, then certainly we have not seen the end of insecurity. So let's look at the issues that are within governance, and let us look at it from the local perspective and see to it that we are building up to enable the armed forces serve us better.
All right. Thank you so very much, Danjuma Abbas Dangwa, for being on Ground Zero this evening. I want to sincerely appreciate everybody that called in. Like I said earlier, you want more information and clarification, you can always send us a private or a direct message on Twitter or Facebook. The handle is at Procyon RTV. At Procyon RTV. Procyon is spelled Procyon. You can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter. We are on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course on Thread. And like always, as we wrap up the program, we would want to appreciate the production team, Paul Yakubo, Isianifemi Onibiyo. We want to appreciate Humphrey Iluore, and of course to also thank and appreciate Wisdom Agulana. But most importantly, we want to sincerely appreciate the management and staff of Invicta FM. My name is Ehis Adbon. Until on Tuesday, one will be on for a fresh package of the program. Heading a new series coming up next week, which is the most popular celebrity award. It's starting off right here on Invicta 98.